Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and the other day we got episode 7 of The Last of Us Season 2, the finale, apparently. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did not know that this was the finale of the season. I thought we were gonna have one or two more episodes, just like we had last season. I guess I just never bothered to look it up, because why would I, right? Yeah, so this was the final episode of Season 2, and yeah, I gotta say, I'm kind of underwhelmed. Yeah, man, this show has been getting kind of, scrutinized from several different angles. You have your classic, anti-woke kind of angle that people are going at it with, but there are other, more legitimate criticisms being aimed at the show. Just some of the writing, maybe some of the things they should have changed from the games, not necessarily plot points, but at least the way that we're being told the story. And I gotta say, being here and having this be the final episode, I kind of agree that maybe they should have changed the structure for some of this, because we really got to the point where we follow these 3 days in Seattle throughout the season from Ellie's perspective, and now we're basically especially this episode, it's very apparent that there's so much happening simultaneously from Abby's perspective that we do not get to see, because that's going to be for next season, right? And so it definitely, this episode just felt like we are seeing glimpses of events that we don't fully understand. People are talking about things that don't really make sense because we don't have the context for them yet. And what I'm hearing, what I've heard several people say now, is that we have to wait 2 years to get the next season of the show. So on one hand, I guess I'll have plenty of time to play the video game again. It's been a long time since I played the game, so I guess I got time for that now. But yeah, wow, just I don't know what's going on with streaming shows. I don't know why. It used to be that we would have 12 to even up to 18 or 20 hour-long episodes of television, and that would happen every year. That used to be the case, back in the Sopranos days, right? But now, we've gotten to the point where we're getting sometimes as little as 6 episodes in some shows, right? And then we have to wait more than a year and a half to 2 years to 3 years even, right? Where the hell is Stranger Things at? What happened to that show? It's just gone. I don't know. And Star Wars has been doing this. The Marvel shows has been, the ones that get sequel seasons, they've been doing it. And HBO especially has been really bad about this. They make you goddamn wait, and I guess it's just kind of irritating when they make you wait so long, and they lower the episode counts, and it ends on such a cliffhanger of an ending, where we're missing information because we didn't get the context, and now it's all right, I hope you can hold this momentum for 2 years. We haven't even started filming season 3 yet, and you're this just doesn't feel sustainable, right? How do you keep the hype for this IP up if you're gonna make us wait so long before we see anything now, right? And especially because the games have been out forever, we already know what's gonna happen, so that just dampens any sort of speculation, because we know what they're gonna do because they followed it so closely. I don't know. It feels, especially here at the end, it feels like it was a mistake to not have them cutting between Ellie and Abby on the same day, right? They should have just had the same story going, day 1, day 2. They follow both characters and just cut between them, right? And then increase the episode count to 12 episodes. There you go. That, I don't know, that just feels like it naturally just makes more sense. I understand why you did it for a video game, because in the video game you don't want to have to keep cutting between characters over and over and over again. That would get annoying. But for a TV show, that just makes a hell of a lot more sense, especially because now season 3 is going to come out and we're going to be all right, this is Abby on day 2, and we're gonna have to like come back and watch season 2 again to try to line up the events to be like, okay, so she's here on this day, that means Ellie's over here, and we kind of get a hint towards that maybe. I don't know. It's just, that's really frustrating. And this is coming from someone, by the way, me, who I tend to be more friendly towards shows like this. You know, like I'm not someone who's going to be like ultra critical about a lot of the decisions, because I enjoyed the second game. I enjoyed a lot of the decisions, even the controversial ones that they made, and I was ready to roll with this. But even I have to acknowledge, like, hey, this seems bad and dumb to do. You know, like this reminds me of how long we had to wait between seasons of Invincible, you know, and at least that show you could be like, oh well, they had to animate it. It takes a long time to get animation. Like, what's this show's excuse? Like, what? You haven't started filming yet? How? Why? What? You should have started filming months ago. What happened? You know, like, were you not greenlit for season 3? I don't know what happens with, you know, these big budget productions, but you have all of these sets already built, all of these costumes already made, all of these actors already hired. What's the problem exactly? I don't know. Anyways, that's enough complaining. I guess we'll talk about the actual episode now. If you get a sense of how I feel already. Anyways, but yeah, basically, they Ellie comes back from interrogating Nora in the hospital. She ends up finding these 2 clues, Wheel and Whale, as to where Abby is. And she eventually finds that, oh, they're in the aquarium. That's where I'm going to go find her, right? Simultaneously, they hear chatter over the radio that someone is sniping some of the wolves, right? And they're like, oh, it's probably Tommy. So, of course, Jesse wants to go rescue Tommy, but Ellie has to be selfish, and she's like, but revenge, you know? And I will say this also, I do agree, the show has definitely made Ellie feel dumber. You know, like they even have characters call her dumb, which seems a little weird. I don't remember them calling her dumb in the game. Maybe they did, but she definitely like she had that one-track mind of revenge, and like that makes sense. But this one just, I don't know. This Ellie feels just more selfish somehow. You know, like I don't know. It just feels different. Anyways, so she goes off, she steals a boat. You know, they managed, oh, and Dina has an injured leg. She got an arrow shot through the leg, and then we kind of don't see Dina again. She's basically stuck there. And we'll talk about that later. She's just stuck there in their hiding spot. Don't know what happened there. Anyways, we get a couple cool moments between Jesse and Ellie as they are, you know, they go to the rendezvous spot where Tommy's supposed to be. They hear the radio call. You know, Ellie picks up the book, which is actually, funny enough, this is a book that I read when I was a kid. Monster at the end of this book. I read that book. And obviously, like, kind of on the nose, like, symbolism there. Like, get it? Monster? Like, Ellie's really the monster here. Because, you know, this episode definitely is trying to, like, make you almost root against Ellie, because she's doing so much. You know, she's just so fueled by revenge. She's gonna do these really cruel and messed up things. I will say, they changed some things from the game to make it more of an accident that they happen. Because when she gets to the aquarium, she sees 2 of the other people that were there, 2 of more of Abby's friends. And they're talking about, again, this is kind of where we get like the, oh, we have no idea what the context is, but they're talking about something that's happening. And we know the wolves are gonna go after all the Seraphites, and they're doing something, and then a lot of this stuff is happening outside of the point of view of Ellie, so you're like, I don't know what the hell's happening. I guess we'll find out next season. Anyways, Ellie goes in there, she ends up shooting the guy, but the bullet goes through his throat, hits the girl in the neck, like barely, but it was enough to sever the jugular, which is crazy. Like, it was actually really brutal the way they showed it. It was one of those things where, like, she turns, she sees the bullet hole went through behind her, and then, like, you just see, like, the blood start, like, creeping up on her neck, and you're like, oh god. Like, it was, you know, when movies do that, that's always really crazy. Like, you don't know, like, what happened, and then, like, only a couple seconds later you see some blood start happening. That's always something that freaks me out, and it's a trick that they do a lot in movies. But anyways, that's what's happening here. We get the reveal that she's pregnant, and she tries to give Ellie advice on how to get the baby out, but Ellie doesn't understand what medical terms she's even using, right? And I don't either, right? So this wasn't necessarily an Ellie's dumb kind of thing. This was more just like, okay, but what and how, and and something interesting happens here where, like, this is not part of the game, where Ellie has the knife and she's gonna attempt to get the baby out and she's being instructed through it, kind of. Like, I don't think that happens in the game at all. I think it's just more of a, oh crap, the lady I just stabbed, because she stabs her intentionally, not on accident, in the game. Like, the lady I just stabbed was pregnant the whole time. Oh crap. And she like freaks out a little, but there was never like an implication that she could have possibly saved the baby, and I feel like that's something that's gonna rub people the wrong way a little bit, because like leaving the implication that she could have saved the baby, which I don't know is actually true, right? Like, I have no idea if that baby was far along enough to have survived. Maybe it was, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but the fact that she decided not to, and she she put the knife down and she covered her back up and she left, right? Like, that kind of like it's gonna rub people the wrong way, because now it makes Ellie feel like even more of a monster if there was a possibility that she could have saved the baby. So I don't know why you add that, like, there was like, you made one thing an accident and then you're like, oh, could she actually save it? They kind of seem like they think she can. I don't know how possible this actually is, but then she just doesn't. So I don't know, it's weird. I'm kind of conflicted how I feel about all that. Anyways, basically they get back to the theater and they're all talking calmly, and this is how it happens in the game, but I don't remember exactly how Abby finds them, but she's there already. They hear Tommy getting beat up, and as soon as Ellie and Jesse swing open those doors, Jesse gets shot in the face and he's dead immediately. And this episode had a lot of like, like, oh, Jesse's definitely gonna die. Like, he keeps on saying like, oh, I can't die, I have to live, and he's like, I know if anything ever happened to me, you'd try to help me out, and like, so it's like, okay, so something's gonna happen to Jesse. And of course it does. So he's dead, just like in the game. And then we basically cut off at this scene right where it happens in the game, where like Abby points the gun at Ellie, saying like, oh, I let you live, but you wasted it. And then the screen cuts to black, and then we rewind all the way back to day one with Abby, and we're gonna see, I guess, all the context that happened there, right? And I guess really the reason why this frustrates me so much is because you lower the episode count, and it feels like everything you're going to show us with Abby could be accomplished in like 2 episodes, right? Like, you could show us Seattle day 2 and 3 like in 2 episodes. It wouldn't take that long to do, like, you already have the actors, you already have the set. Like, just, I don't know, seems weird to not do it. Also, there's this kind of strange scene where right before Ellie gets to the aquarium, she's captured by some Seraphites and she's almost hung, right, with the noose and everything, and then they get called away, right? I guess that's the attack, that's Isaiah's attack on their village. And this is like a brand new scene, and I think maybe they showed this because we will see that Seraphite woman who almost killed her again in season 3. Like, maybe she just got done doing something, or I don't know, because we do see Abby also has marks across her neck, so like, she also just ran into the Seraphites, I guess, because that's like a whole sequence in the game. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. It felt, I understand why it seemed like maybe this would be a natural place to end the season, on that scene where like, okay, here's the cut where we're gonna go to Abby stuff. So I understand like that, how that decision got made, but I don't agree with it. It definitely feels like, because this is a TV show, because we can watch you cut from character to character, and not feel the kind of weird push and pull that you would playing a video game, having to play as those characters. You could have just done it that way, and it would have made a lot more sense. Like, we're used to Game of Thrones cutting between all these characters. Like, you could have just done that, but instead you follow the game so closely that I'm like, this feels like you're kind of hurting the story. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think it's just on top of the fact that we're not getting this season 3 next year. That's not happening, you know. And I think like that would have been bad enough already. So to hear that, like, no, it's gonna be 2 years before we get the next season, I'm just like, all momentum just feels instantly zapped away from me. Like, I'm just like, I was supporting the show. I saw a lot of hate for this show, like a lot of hate for some of the actors. Some of it's like really juvenile, just like mean shit for no reason. But you know, I was like supporting the show and supporting the actors, and I was like, okay, I'm down for whatever the story's gonna be, but I don't know. Leaving it on this cliffhanger and then telling us like, see ya in 2027, like, God, that's, I don't know, that just seems ridiculous to me. It just seems really, really silly. TV shows have been coming out yearly forever. That's never been a problem. So why is it like we can make 7 episodes just barely, you know, and then like is next season gonna be 5 episodes? Are we gonna wait 2 years for even less episodes? Are you gonna do it again? I don't know. I understand that maybe they wanted to force The Last of Us to become like this thing that they can milk and make last several seasons, but it does not feel like the show or the games were like, it doesn't feel like the story was designed to be that way. This was not meant to be a 3 or 4 season thing, you know. Like, you could have wrapped this up in 2 and then that would have been it. Like, that would have been the end of the whole series. But it definitely feels like I'm feeling HBO or Warner Brothers or whatever you want to call it, I'm feeling them come in and be like, no, you're gonna stretch this as far as you can. You're gonna make the second game last forever. You know, maybe they're hoping a third game will come out by the time they're done. I don't know, but I am pretty underwhelmed, guys. I love the stuff that they added, but they definitely could have had at least 2 more episodes, at least 3 more episodes even. So just, jeez. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about not only the final episode, but season 2 as a whole. Like, are you happy with this? Like, did this do it for you? And then when you hear 2 more years, does that fill you with the same like frustration that it's filling me with? Because I'm like, really? You can't just like start filming this now and then, you know, 6 months from now you give us a trailer, 3 months from then like you're ready to go. Like, why does this take 2 years? What about this takes 2 years? I don't see it. What? They're not flying around in CGI, like, you know, like, I don't understand. But okay. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Bye.